Hi, welcome to Full Crazy Town, episode 17. I'm the mayor of Full Crazy Town, Stephen Cole. I'm going to pick right up where I left off because it's been so much happening, so much going to happen once and if Trump gets inaugurated. But I left off talking about disinformation. That seems to be the key issue here coming into the Trump presidency and the last of Biden or whoever was in charge. But we were talking about Zuck's pledge to not have fact checkers, do it like Elon's Twitter X with community notes. Now, see, that's what Jimmy Dore says the answer to hate speech is more speech. Anyway, even if Zuck's promises don't come true, the fact that he thoroughly exposed the government's ploy and plans means he's at least talking about it. And I'm sure I was just talking about the authoritarian um, tendency of our government and the fact that for 4 years we were told the COVID virus was not a lab leak from Wuhan, and anybody that said so got deplatformed, demonetized. Then it came out and said, oh, yeah, actually, I was listening to Matt Taibbi and Walter Kern, and they were talking about the used to be called the heavenly mandate. I guess that was the natural. It's like Awesome Newsom in California here. If he can rebound from that, and that's a real media coup. What we have now is a competency crisis. California, notorious for wasting money on high-speed rail projects that never materialize. Other projects like that, what was it, 117 million gallon reservoir right there in Palisades, empty. Politics that for years now has been all about equity and other philosophical constructs is going to be seen as having failed in the most essential way to protect people. So that's California, right? Oh, diversity makes everything groovy no matter what. Not really. You need competency, not just diversity. So there is a crisis of competency. There was a security failure before 9/11. Everything seems staged, just like Jay Fletcher Prouty said. LA is supposed to, what they're talking about now is LA 2.0, but with the crisis in business coming, no doubt, it's going to be more like a 0.5. So yeah, LA's days are numbered, like Israel and the American empires. Electrical lines have been shut down in the past in California. Remember PG&E? Hey, they went bankrupt trying to pay for that because they didn't shut the power down on the burned up paradise. So the Santa Ana winds come every year, every time about this time of year, every year. They were predicted to be particularly bad this year. But ever since those lawsuits, they have been shutting down the lines. Remember last year, people were flipping out because if there was a fire 200 miles away, they were shutting down all the lines everywhere, and tens or hundred thousands of people were without power all around the area. Pissing them off unnecessarily, see. But now, well, okay, we didn't shut them down. Now see what happened. So what do you want us to do? The gas and electrical lawsuits, maybe that's why I don't know. They weren't shut down at any rate. Like in Lahaina, some vehicles were not allowed to evacuate, right? Remember, the people had to abandon their vehicles and jump in the ocean. Well, here, in a couple of these fires, they told the people to stop, take your keys, and proceed without your vehicle. And why? Yeah, that's an order. Why? But why? Why? The fire's right behind it. Well, just like Hawaii, why can't we evacuate? You're condemning us to death. Like in Hawaii, it really does seem like the disaster capitalism that has been so popular for so many decades. Any excuse, any natural disaster. Now we can kill more people and terrorize millions more and gain more power and control. Seems like staged events, political theater, meant to entertain like bread and circuses. 180,000 people were told to evacuate in around LA, and only about, I don't know, a few tens of thousands, not hundreds, but tens of thousands it turned out to be really necessary. But the other, and the ones that didn't, had their homes subject to the vigilante neighborhood watch people, took care of those guys pretty quick. But it was too far widespread for it a real boondoggle for law enforcement, police, and thieves. Dissidoods on January 12th, Tulsi, how she has to flip-flop on her Section 702 from the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA. She was talking about how to preserve freedom of speech and other freedoms. They were like, she was going to have to go back on what she said and what she's because I don't know why I wrote down Chuck Schumer's quote. They have 6 ways to Sunday to get back at you. Anyway, 702, Tulsi says, is crucial for gathering info. Glenn Greenwald said she would never get confirmed if she didn't flip-flop on the issue of warrantless searches. Creating a rift, the H-1B visa issue, unable to deflect attention. See, so that was Elon and other. It's really a boondoggle, and it's anti-U.S. labor. So they've been focusing on these in Great Britain, like it's been going on. I don't know, free parties and try to get sex and try to get them hooked into everything. Grooming gang. So that's what Elon. Oh, this is the real problem now, not these visas that's letting all these immigrants in to take jobs from Americans. And that's exactly what's happening. Not high skilled, any and all. Some high skilled, but not all. So then Zuck goes on Joe Rogan and says he's dropping the fact checkers, removing tampons from Meta's male bathrooms. Most companies need more masculine energy. The Zuck, I wouldn't call him a feminist anymore. Backlash to the shit libs. The wokeism set popular culture back to the macho age. Back macho man. That's the ones that put Trump over the top by 5 million votes. Guys, young, old, whatever. Then we had, what was this? Somebody named Peterson was talking about Pakistani assault gangs. Girls still being raped, just as Elon Musk says. Candace Owens says, no way. She doesn't trust him. He's a transhumanist and wants to put chips in our brains. Anyway, the controversies go back and forth. I don't want to get into it too much. Trump rode a coalition into power. Now some are feuding amongst themselves. Oh, cracks in the MAGA ranks. People forced to pick sides. You want to go the H-1B via plus the genocide side, or what you've got is oligarchic freaks versus integrity. The word. Israel touches every topic. Anything you want to, is the media capitalizing on every narrative. Every narrative has to have its own particular spin. So it's just like if you're talking about Israel, you're talking about politics, economics, religion, culture, social issues, everything. Morality, gee whiz. Now there's a tug of war between the FDIC and the biggest managers of index-based mutual funds and exchange-traded funds, ETFs, over the rules governing their passive investments in FDIC-regulated banks. I saw this is coming up the day after Trump's inauguration. This will be coming up on Tuesday. This is coming to either the federal judge in D.C. or it could be the SCOTUS, I don't know. In December, Vanguard signed an agreement, but not BlackRock, who, along with Vanguard and State Street, collectively controlled $26 trillion in assets. Since the 2009 financial crisis, investors have poured money into their low-cost index funds, catapulting the three firms into the ranks of the largest, the World Economic Forum, 15 minutes, transhumanism, reparations. It never happened. Reparation never happened. And Greg Foreman says it's a waste of time. It's a dead end. Even if it's a conversation, it ends up being just that, a conversation service. It was tried in California, failed, for whatever reason. State versus we the people is what it comes down to. So what the anti-reparations people are saying, the economists, that it's too expensive. We can't do that. It's just the nanny state. We shouldn't have welfare. We shouldn't be bailing out people too lazy to work. So anyway, nanny state versus the real state, which you have people who are trying to work, can't pay the bills because of inflation and oppression. Marginalized people listen to, says the nanny state. What? Maybe that's wrong. I'm not quite sure what I was saying. Candace Owens and others can't be marginalized. Oh, I know what it was. That was it. Greg Foreman was saying that people who present themselves as being the most oppressed, therefore the most, those other people, I deserve it. Russ said that the Black voices advocating for self-sufficiency are silenced. And that's just has to fit the establishment narrative or out in left field. Russ was also talking about Wally, the Uhuru guy on Tucker Carlson, he's a leftist. O'Malley is a leftist, doesn't want handouts. And that's what there's been a lot of come out and said, like, our community is pretty strong. We don't let people fall through the cracks the way you see so many people, white people, homeless, on streets, and friendless, communityless. Anyway, no, a leftist doesn't want handouts. O'Malley cited Marcus Garvey, said, "Send us back to Africa. This free passage. We're out of here. This place is corrupt and dangerous." The Uhuru Three got Russiagated. They were called Russian agents, threatened with jail, found to be not guilty. Like Trump, there's a schism in the MAGA movement. H-1B, Elon calls some Republicans racist since they want people from India to stay there, not come here and take jobs away at lower wage. So that's the race is simply tossed back and forth between Democrats and Republicans, and they both have great reasons why their definition is better than the other guys. I hate to get into it because it really is just political theater. Another rift between the MAGA movement, besides the visas, is MEGA, Make Israel Great Again. Thomas Massey talks about, he's a Republican, talks about the AIPAC babysitters who will give you money as long as you vote AIPAC's way, Israel's way. But if you don't, then they primary you, unlimited funds. First time you have to get a primary election. So Trump talks about his support for Israel. Complicated. The left and MAGAs should come together, but we don't. Judeo-Christian values are emphasized always. Counter efforts should focus on MAGA-themed issues, not Jews. MAGA-themed, in this case, I mean pro-American, pro-worker, pro-common person, pro-worker as opposed to owner or manager, assassinator. And so what had I'm not sure where the anti-woke rhetoric surrounding Luigi. I said these staged events just aren't worth delving into. You're just confusing yourself more that you try. Every detail. Who said what? That's what Whitney Webb was saying. Investigative journalism now is. I don't know. There was something about. The CEO assassination sparked an outcry over the good health care. And that is true. And that is worth, talking about. But where Luigi's paid by the government or in cahoots with this group or that group, that's when the, health care for all just kind of sails out the window. So you have 500,000 people going bankrupt every year due to medical debt. But is universal health care the answer? It's debatable, and it gets debated round and round Robin Hood's barn. Angola, Alabama, then it went to the prison industrial complex. Angola, Alabama is on an old plantation site. Coincidence? I don't think so. Now the prison industrial complex is there, and the prisoners are worked like slaves. $1 a day to pick cotton. What's the difference? Some are saying, we'll build LA 2.0. Keaton, more like LA 0.5. I was going to read Chris Hedges' article about fire weather. Fascinating. Basic part of it is that vinyl siding and tar shingles and soffit venting around the eaves. Those are just like 3 remedies for having your house not just go up in flames, but to actually explode with superheated gases. And that's what's in advance. When you see all those embers flying towards houses, those are superheated gases that get up through the tiny holes in the eaves, the soffit venting, and collect in the attic. And then you add the embers that are hitting the vinyl siding and on the tar shingles, and wampalooby. Head of NPR. Boy, I don't know if this is going to be worth reading. Ryan Murray, former director of Aspen Institute Commission, Information Disorder. Ooh, the thought police, just like Orwell said in 1984. A liaison to industry. So from the government, wait a minute. I'm not sure about that. Wait, let me read about this. The Aspen Institute is staffed by people like Katie Couric, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, and DHS official Chris Krebs. He used holding areas for bad behavior. And I'm not sure when this was. Access to product features for volatile behavior. And he took misinformation countermeasures. So access to product features. Product features, I took that to mean products that went into making a product, the many components. So, but what you were getting was holding areas for bad behavior when you had these meetings with the Aspen Institute and industry. So that was with the Fed. So that's where the fascistic element comes in. Anyway, Garry Kasparov, former chess player, resigned from the commission, citing comparisons to the Roth. You might remember that name from Matt Taibbi's work on the Twitter files. Merkley asking Twitter's Yoel Roth for an FBI contact number. Oh, so he wanted to start saying, take this post down, that post down, take this person, this organization, that, and they did by the thousands. Biden's weaponization of government committee. That's a far-reaching name. Weaponization of government. Warned in advance. He was warned in advance by federal authority about a hack and leak. Huh? Hack and leak? What's that? Well, due to come out that would undermine the election conversation. So this is the October surprise, 2020. What it turned out, Aspen Digital, former or a component of Aspen Institute's commission, Aspen, where is it? Digital, where Merkley was the senior tech fellow, held a hack and leak roundtable to prepare for the Burisma story that they knew was out about Hunter Biden taking $80,000 a month to sit on the Burisma steel. No, it was carbon industry. I can't remember, but he wasn't qualified to be in either chair. As far back as June of 2020, you see that they still had like July, August, September, October, 3 or 4 months to get the word out. And did they ever? was labeled Russian disinformation, and the media simply dropped it without comment, just did not carry the story anymore. And then never went back when it was proven true. Never, oh, our bad. Nope, they never do that. Digital censorship years ago expanded beyond removing content as key actors saw opportunities to promote political objectives. So instead of just censoring, dropping, said, hey, wait a minute, we can drop it and then put in our 2 cents worth as to why it must be dropped. And that'll help our careers. Like corrective historical injustices, correcting historical injustices. So that would be like, for them, Trump winning was a historical injustice. And anything that's done that's anti-Trump it's okay. Or advancing diversity. I was thinking about diversity too. Both have the same word, probably Latin, for divide, division, divide and conquer, the establishment strategy for ruling over us as we fuss and feud or against each other, or even with each other as we and donations and headlines and influence. Diversity, division. Why is that so good? Shouldn't be like equity, right? Equity, not extra special rights, but equal rights, just like MLK's birthday celebrated tomorrow. Going to be a heck of a day. Walter Kern is thinking that there's going to be another assassination or a drone strike, is the rumor, somewhere in Washington. Who knows? I don't want to project. Opportunities to historical injustices. Expanding diversity goals by expanding the definition of misinformation. So instead of just saying it's stuff that can be proved to be wrong, it seems like advancing diversity goals help them to expand the definition of what is misinformation. So it went from Burisma is misinformation to anybody who criticizes DEI programs needs to be censored, and that's disinformation. They're trying to spread disinformation, misinformation, whatever. Anyway, NPR has long been an outlet in the alignment with Aspen Ideas, which became clear when former business editor Uri Berliner pointed, among other things, to NPR's statement about the Biden laptop story. The statement was, we don't want to waste our time on stories that are not really stories. Fairy tale stories. That's what our government and media want. Fairy tales. Here's a great quote from Golda Meir. I don't know where. I was listening to something else. I had to write it down. Here's Golda back in the day. We don't hold it against them, the Palestinians, for killing our children. We don't like them making us kill their children. Isn't she wonderful? Can you believe the twists, the turns, the evil, inbred evil that has to exist? Making it, it's the old Kermit the Frog thing about how to solve your own small problems. Don't let anybody make you do anything. Decide what to do. Don't let somebody. So if they're making you walk left, then you walk left. If they're making you walk right. Now they were. I guess this is still probably Russ talking about bad optics. Maybe that was Keaton. Trump didn't want to inherit the Gaza genocide, so he forced the issue. Probably said, "I'm going to cut you off completely unless you have this meeting when I want it." Originally he said, "We want it noon tomorrow," and they said, "No, no, tomorrow's this. It's the Sabbath. We can't get RP. It's going to have to be after sundown." No, no, no more money for you. Anyway, so he forced Israel to make a deal. And again, like Trump's presidency, time will tell. We have to wait for it to see if the truce will be started. It started today. They released 33, so it has started. But will it be upheld? Will it be more bombings or snipings? Maybe just one snipe here and left, and just see if they can get away with it. Let's see what happens. Then they were talking about presidents, past presidents, how a lot of them were common laborers. Truman was a haberdasher who made hats, but now most politicians are Ivy Leaguers, silver spooners. But Trump's not. He's a silver spooner, but he's not an Ivy Leaguer. He's more for the common man than the Democrats are now, and so that's why the bases have flipped. At least as far as promises go, Trump didn't really deliver for the workers during his first term, so you can't realistically hold out unless he comes up with something. Who knows? He's definitely still an outsider. You had the establishment try to take him out twice, and they're saying third time's the charm. They just hate Trump because he's not a total player. He wouldn't, do this war, that war, this incursion, that. He just wouldn't do everything the Pentagon wanted. He's still a member of the big club. Remember, he attended Bill and Hillary's wedding way back when. But he's not a member in good standing. So that's the difference. So that means like, turn this into pink mist. We'll have to wait. Just like the crosswalk when you hear the recorded voice. Walk sign is not on. Wait. When Clinton came in, Mike and Gloria, this is from Archie's show. What was it called? All in the Family. Mike and Gloria triumphed in almost every situation, and their ridiculing of rednecks like Archie seemed to be the way the show went. I mean, there was a give and take, but basically you had 2 against 1 with Marge in the middle going, "Oh, no, why can't we stop arguing?" But in all, it showed Mike and Gloria's triumphing over Archie Bunker. But then the Dems jettisoned the working class, buddied up to Wall Street. And they want us to forget class issues and push race and gender narratives. The women, this was a great story. Glenn Greenwald came up with this one. There was a woman tennis player who won Wimbledon 2 years ago. And there was a controversy between her and her coach, according to Pam Shriver. Glenn says it happens all the time. If you criticize an official or other influential person, and that person is female, people will say you're a gentleman. So women criticize the same way as men. And what the coach was seen doing was like gesturing while he's talking to this player, between sets. And one time she was trying to talk to him, 90-second timeout sets, and he's saying, "Please listen, I only have a few seconds." And she kept interrupting him and said, well, the reason I did that, and he's like, please listen. And he just talked louder, like right in her face. And so she was quiet. She did listen. But Pam Shriver saw that as abuse and got him fired as her coach. I'm not quite sure. The Women's Tennis Association is kind of wackadoodle. Anyway, if the player, the woman player who's 25 now, said she wasn't abused. It was, she says, I was out of my head trying to talk to him during the timeout. Instead of letting him, he finally put me in my place, and I shut up and listened. She doesn't feel victimized, but others will say Pam Shriver said it. She doesn't realize that she's a victim. I do, because Pam Shriver said I was victimized from age 15 to age 30 by my coach, my male coach. I'm sure I see it in her. She's a victim. I know. Everybody knows. There's the bad religion song. Everybody knows what's best for you. But this Glenn calls it's just a philosophy based on identity politics, and he's been talking about it practically nonstop for the last 5 or 6 years. It's a condensation towards women and minority groups. It's patronizing attitude that people don't think women should be treated on an equal par with men. That's the way some people think. Some people think women are too fragile, too weak to stand up to male abuse. They must be protected from the sexism and bigotry. Their concerns masquerade as enlightenment or chivalry, I see so much of this. It's just sickening. And you try to tell people, like, there are some women that don't want a man saying that he's going to guarantee their equal protection. And oh boy, the guy, you're crazy. You must be a misogynist. Oh boy, Pam Shriver. Oh, what a deal. So then there was I think I was like back onto well, no, I was going to talk more about Greg Foreman, but I've said it all, really. The time for reparations was during Reconstruction. It's better to focus on issues that you can control, like economic opportunities or opportunities to invest or create wealth in Black communities. So decisions about do we live in a nanny state or a nation of people? Are we weak, scared, in need of protection from verbal assaults? It's like what Glenn said about the woman tennis player. Everyone knows what's best for you. Max Blumenthal, hero number 1 this month, holding Tony Blinken, to account. And then he's on Sabby Sab saying Elon Musk is the new mad king of the world. And that's what Matt says. He blows whichever way the wind blows. Elon's going with the prevailing breeze. He's always got the wind at his back. Lately, what he's doing is supporting the race thug Tommy Robinson in the UK and the Reform Party. Wants to kick out Farage, wants to remove Keir Starmer, supports the AfD in Germany. I believe that's a far right authoritarian, fascistic party. Elon's all in for taking over Greenland to get the lithium. Elon wants to topple Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela again. But going along with Zuck canceling the fact checkers, that's a nod towards Trump, somebody else going with the prevailing winds. Big difference. And then I don't know who talking about this. I think Max. Max says he was an NBA fan when for a while in DC, but he was talking about how there's a big difference between the NBA commissioner and owners and the players. That you have basically the Zionists versus people who are mostly black and mostly pro-Palestinian, and they'll talk about it. Kyrie Irving was, and let me talk about this first. The Miami Heat had an Israel night with Zionists in costumes dancing on the half court or on the floor at halftime. A family named Harrisons own the Heat, and they own Carnival Cruise Line. So don't go there. Boycott, divest, and sanction. Now the Zionists feel threatened by the blacks. When the blacks talk like that, they're trying to kill me. Well, I got to do something. Like Danny Glover. Danny Glover has been big on holding the Zionists accountable. Blacks just want to end modern day slavery. Another NBA player, Dwight Howard. I think he's a retired player. And then you had Jaylen Brown not allowed on the Olympic team, even though he was an MVP because of his pro-Pal statements. Then you have some in Hollywood that are actually hopping on the anti-woke bandwagon or steamroller, whatever we're trying to do here. Braveheart, what's his name? I don't know. I really try not to follow Hollywood, but I do want to get caught up to where I left off before the next 15 minutes are up. So I'm going to blast on. You had Roger Goodell, who would work with the players. That's NFL. Let them smoke weed, wouldn't clap them in jail. The NBA fans are more liberal, but not the owners. The owners feel threatened. You had the Anti-Defamation League suing Kyrie Irving and won $500,000. I don't know exactly what was done or said, but that's just outrageous. You had Bob Kraft. You have Bob Kraft, owner of the Patriots, huge Zionist, takes players to Israel for vacations, also known as brainwashing. The Israel Social Affairs Minister complains to the NBA whenever a player makes a pro-Pal statement. So they're dictating to the NBA and the USA. This is just the Israel Social Affairs Minister. It's not even, Bibi picking up the phone and saying, hey, it's this person. It's a woman. She held a rally to complain about the Sudanese people taking over Israel. And I guess that was just a fact pulled out of the hat. I don't know. I don't, like I said, I don't check out every breaking news. No, sorry, I don't get too excited unless it's a incoming drone. Previously, this person was head of the unit that was forcefully sterilizing the women from Ethiopia. If you remember, you had the, what were they called? They were the original people. I mean, Africa used to be called Ethiopia. It was so influential. It had kings going back thousands of years, reportedly to, I don't know about that. I think Sheba was from Yemen. And when after she had her tryst with Solomon, she became queen of Ethiopia, or went to Ethiopia, but made Ethiopia great. Let's see. And you have Ben Gurion gave awards to women who could give birth to the most kids. So from the very beginning, they knew that the race was on to get more Jewish people in the new state of Israel than there were Palestinians. So the race was on to outpopulate the people of Palestine. Genocide helps with US support. You basically get a separate reality. The most amazing allegations that you can make, the most was mass rape. October 7th was made to basically start the genocide. And once you spread that rumor, that false rumor around enough, everybody just says, oh, it's just easier to let them do their thing than, to all this fact checking. It's he said, she said. Max Blumenthal and others got in there. And even the New York Times and the Washington Post was quoting Israel's media saying that the mass rape, there wasn't even one rape that could be positively confirmed. So, the separate rape allegations. The allegations were made, then retracted, but the damage was already done by the media. There were no mass rapes, no rapes, in fact, except by Israel against Palestinian prisoners and other tortures. And remember when the government tried to stop torture and mass rapes in the Israeli prisons against the Palestinian people. Riots broke out around the prisons, and they made them withdraw the clause that said no rape, no torture. And the people were going to break into the prison and said, we're going to kill all the Palestinians in there. So let us rape them. It's better than killing them. America's First Congress and Mike Johnson. Yeah, America First. Well, we'll see about that, Mike. Americans so far have gotten the shaft. The fires in LA and Hawaii, most recently, disaster capitalism, no protection from natural disasters or unnatural ones like runaway inflation or bringing in immigrants to take all the jobs, good jobs, middle jobs, so-so jobs, take them. Hamas will not be broken, has not, will not. Before Sinwar died, he was the head of Hamas that got taken out, I think, by a bombing. The drone coming in to hit him, as just before the drone hit him, he threw a stick at the drone. Way to go, man. If you're going to go, you shake your fist, do something. Don't just kneel down and turn the other cheek. Their motto is freedom or death. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's the way it's going to go. So I'm glad I got off with 5 minutes to spare, talk a little bit about Now the talk. Finally, the talk is over. The wait is over. Grab a cup of coffee, sit back, see if there is violence tomorrow, see what Trump's first 72 hours, first week in office, first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. It's going to tell a lot. And my guess is that there's going to be a little bit of peace, a little bit of war, a little bit of a break for people here and there, but mainly whatever Trump and Elon and the other billionaires and the Pentagon hack out and can allow to happen to try to keep the game going without sending the whole economy into the shit can, shittery, shit. But that is coming. Whitney Webb said it more and more. She's all about the digital money, the WEF's plan for 15-minute cities coming soon to a neighborhood near you, the continual grinding down of the middle class. So basically, you've got either millionaires or marginalized workers, marginalized people, often without adequate health care, housing, infrastructure, justice, injustice in so many ways. I'm trying to get rid of the smart meter that the water and electric company put right on the other side of the wall of my pillow and bed. Oh boy. So I did get a new PCP, a naturopath. All these allopathic doctors were just wackadoodle. Can't even get a doctor. It's a registered nurse practitioners. My last 3 PCPs were that before I figured, well, you can get on Providence health insurance and get a naturopath. And for years, my wife and I used a homeopath as a main doctor. We were pretty healthy. We didn't need a lot of this, that, or the other. And homeopathy seemed to work. It just, like cures like, give yourself a little bit of what your body needs to recognize as what kind of a remedy is necessary to counteract this malady imbalance. So I'll be curious to see who comes out on top. I don't think it's going to be the working man or MAGA workers, or I don't think there's going to be much justice or satisfaction for the woke snowflakes either. So basically, everybody's going to be angry. Everybody's going to keep being at each other's throat. And what I want to talk about, I think really is more about, I'm going to keep watching the shows that I'm watching, keep taking notes, keep trying to assimilate what some of these people are saying. Like RBN says, yeah, reparations, hell yeah. But then Greg Foreman comes on the, must have been the Jimmy Show, and said, no, thank you. We're doing our best. We have a long way to go, but we don't think that by presenting ourselves as weak and needy and depending on white people to give us so that we'll feel equal to white people. And I can see the convoluted thinking there. I really can. But I do believe in justice. And whether that's economic justice or maybe just opportunities for equality that are necessary. But 400 years of institutionalized slavery, that's a long time. And, we were, that was going on for a couple of hundred years before we became our own country. So ugly at best. I'm out of here. Stay tuned for Dudes. Thanks for tuning in, anybody that did. And One love, one love. Rastafari. Stay tuned. Wait for it. It's soon to be. All lies will be revealed, as Cat Williams said. I think we're really going to finally get some answers. We're going to see which way the wind's blowing. So thank you again very much. Stay tuned for Do Dis-a-Doos. They usually give you about a 5 or 10 minute lead in, so you should have time for a bathroom break or whatever before they get going. But I really appreciate anybody who did tune in. Not really sure if I'm getting out there at all since my book was suppressed and I never made a penny off of anything. That's okay. I like to vent. I wrote the book so I could vent. I like podcasting so I can vent. Try to get my head wrapped around the rapidly changing bongo mania world. See ya. Bye now.